Alright, we're going to do a solo D0 play to sky run. I'm going to do it on a Warrior Shaman Necromancer to show that you don't need to be in the chamber to solo this. And we're going to go ahead and do all the bosses, so let's go ahead and get started. A lot of the bosses are going to be pretty boring, so it's just going to be things, you know, like dotting them up and then attacking them all the way till you die. I'm just going to drop into recovery so that we can regain some mana. And actually, let me run through this so that my pet gets back.
It is done.
Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to Island 1.5. Now here, since there's no way to charm or mez these, and since we're not in Enchainer, it doesn't really matter. What we're going to do is we're going to drop into Overchannel so we can make sure that our stuff lands. And then we're going to cast Melosi to debuff them, and then we're going to slow both of them. After they're both slowed, I'll start dotting them up. Be slowed, don't get a Blade Storm. Alright, now I go back to the gym, and we start dotting. And then once I've got a full complement of dots on him, I'm going to swap out his Blade Storm and start getting him dotted up. Back to the gym. I have to refresh thoughts in 15 seconds. That's enough time to get a couple of ticks of recovery in. And we'll switch back to Overchannel for the dots. And back into recovery because we won't need to reapply anything else.
It is done.
Alright. So now we're going to go to the Island 2, Azarax. And let's move over here, just trying to find somewhere where we won't pull like 500 of them. And since these are low level, we don't need to be in Overchannel. We can just excuse me. We can just sit in Invocation, or not Invocation, in Inversion. And we don't need as much, so we're just going to throw an Envenom Bolt and an Odium on each one. And let's make sure we've got Spirit come up. Where did that pull me to? We'll go ahead and cannibalize, get our mana back. On the Protector, so we need to kill a few more. Let's see if you're going to drop the spark fueling. And so moon's going down. No idea where you're going, buddy. Get back. Alright, so we've got to protect our sky spawn, so we're going to go ahead and feign death off this aggro. We're not. Alright, let's try getting this off again. We're going to start dropping the recovery to regain mana so we can keep dotting. Alright. Now we need to recover some mana so we can kill the boss. Where's my state recovery for this fight? Should be out. I'm not going to super dot him up. I'm going to try to conserve some mana here.
It is done.
Alright, there's Island 2 done. We are going to get some mana back before we can do Island 3 because we have two mobs that we need to fight that we can't really do anything about other than just fight them both at the same time. So we'll go in here and we'll just stay here. So we're going to be fighting this Heart Harpy and this Wargolosk, and potentially any ads might wander in. start out in over channels, we want to land a slow on both of these as soon as possible. And we're going to get spirit lifting up. Let's hope we don't get stunned immediately so we can get a slow off of these. I can proceed to back them up. And there comes this one. That's alright, we've got one hot running, or one drain hot running, and we've already got the other one up too. Here we go, pressure box.
It is done.
Alright. So now that that's done, we're going to stay in recovery. We're going to invis our pet and then ourselves. And then move on to Island 4. No, we're not going to kill the gym on Island 4. We're going to wait until we finish the run and then go back and kill him afterwards. So over here is Keeper of Souls. You can get him solo. You just have to time it correctly. So as long as we can avoid aggro from that, Soul Carrier will have to wait for this one as well. Or we could feign death bullet. Fortunately, I don't quite know where the reset is for these guys. Alright, so we're going to pull him back to where this little outcropping sticks out so that we don't get aggro while we're fighting. Then we're going to drop into over channel and get our slow stuck on him. And after over channel, after slow, we should be able to drop into inversion. I'm just going to get the drain on him, and then we can spirit between ourselves and our pet, where we apply the rest of the dots. Like that control is sticking. We'll drop it over channel and cast it. There it goes. I'm going to drop back into defensive until it's time to reapply the dots. Or not defensive, rather recovery.
It is done.
Now the genie will be over here by the tower, or the windmill rather. We're not going to fight him right now. We're going to use our pet. And use ourselves. And then we're going to move on to the next island. Like I said, once we're done with the Ayabishan, then we'll come back and kill him, then run through and kill the hand again. Kill the hand after. Alright, so here we need to spawn the mini boss. He'll spawn over here. We can spawn him by killing I think it's the Vanisher that spawns him, but we'll need to kill both of these. There's no way to pull them secret that I know of. I'm just going to dot both of these up. I'm not going to do a full complement of dots since it seems pretty weak. And we're going to put them back on. Parry, the arbiter. I get the guardian dialed up. Hope the dots didn't work. Drop into recovery so we can regain some mana while our dots tick. And because I always forget to do this, let's check our abilities. Okay, good, they're all in. I'm just going to stick along the edge here so that we don't aggro. Oh, up here to the boss. And as long as we fight him behind the pad here, then we should not get any aggro. And put on Puma. Throw on slow team lane. We want to drop into Uber channel because we want our slow to stick. Once we stick our slow, we can switch over to Uber version. And just like before, now we've got them dotted up, we're going to switch into recovery so we can regen some mana. And we're going to go ahead and switch back into version to reapply the dots. Alright, so next up is the B island. That's where most people are going to struggle the most. So if you have invisibility, and you have a snare, and you have from depth,
It is
then
done.
I'm going to show you how to do this. So first up, invis your pet and yourself. This makes it so that we can position ourselves without getting the B aggro up on initially coming up. And we're going to go to the portal. Now it's very, very important here that you tell your pet to hold. So I'm just going to make sure he's got it. /pet G hold on. Alright, and then we can target the big B up through here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cast a slow on him. As soon as that slow sticks, which it did not, so we're going to cast it again. Alright, we're going to drop an over channel and cast it just to make sure it sticks. Alright, now the slow step, we feign death. Alright, make sure you're in inversion here, because we're going to need to stand up and then hit that B as soon as the other one de-aggros. And now we've got the boss solo. Whenever you don't need to reapply dots, it's always good to drop into recovery so that you can regain some ammo. Alright, get boss number 2. We're going to switch over to overchannel. Slow. Once the slow lands, we can go back to inversion. Dots applied, so back to recovery. It doesn't look like we'll need to reapply the dots, so we'll get ready to switch to overchannel for when it next pops out. Alright, slow applied. I'm actually going to stay in overchannel just to make sure these first few dots land. Actually, we're just going to get cast all of them, and then we'll just switch straight to recovery. See, the plague did not end. It's alright. Alright, these last couple spawns of the boss, you probably need to stay in overchannel to land your stuff. We're going to go slow on them, then we're going to reapply Puma, and then we're going to finish the dots. myself up. Oh my god. I deserve that. Okay. So, I mean, that's actually not a very bad thing. So now I can show you that since we pulled him back there, he should still be back there when we come back up. So let me get rebuffed. Oh my goodness. Alright, so now that we're rebuffed, we can just invis our pet and then invis ourselves and run straight back up to the bees. I think the gen will see through this, so I'm going to give him a wide berth. And see if the boss is still over here, we'll be able to get him solo again. Switch back over to over channel. We're going to get the slow on him, then we're going to reapply Puma. Slows on. Let's actually target the boss this time before we start dotting. Alright. Doesn't look like a minimal, it's gonna stick, that's fine. Drop into recovery. Now, if you don't have a slow, you can always use a root to do the pain death pool. If you don't have a slow or a root, good luck. Reapply the buffs. We're just going to do. I'm going to bolt stuck that time. Canadian.
It is done.
Alright. I need to see how much mana I need. Is the wisp down there? Yes, it is. Alright. Because the wisp is down there, I'm going to come back and wait for mana. We're going to go ahead and invis our pet and ourselves so we can get in position. You don't need to do this invisibility here, it just makes it easier. And I just realized I do not have Lich Form up, so we're going to go ahead and get that while we're waiting. Alright, we're going to re-invis ourselves. So we can cast Lich Form. And you want to fight her where she stands, but get right behind her. We're going to wait for that one Rider Drake to leave, because those things will screw your day up. Alright, so you're getting some ads, that's fine, we just focus the boss. We'll barrel on slugs. And we got a wind right, which is not ideal. So we're going to drop into conversion. We're just going to drain her down as quickly as possible.
It is done.
Alright, now we're going to see if we can feign death off this aggro. Doesn't look like it, so we're going to make a... not going to make a run for anything. Alright, we'll try to feign again once we stop spinning. Alright, so there's another example of how it can go bad. But now we can go back up and kill Bijan after we rebuff. You know what? We're not going to sit there. These more than likely will follow you from one island if you stick around. But if you go through multiple islands, then they shouldn't follow you. So we're going to get to the teleporter, then we're going to feign off these bees so they don't follow us. Let's do it in pre-buff. Alright, got lucky slowly the first time. Now we just done that. Drop back to air channel and make sure the dots stick as we reapply them.
It is done.
Alright, now we can go back and kill the other gen, and then come back up here and kill the hand to be shown. Well, there's our pet. With ourselves. For some reason the bed's gonna stay on the pet. Alright, so as long as we make sure there are no griffins near him, we should be able to get him solo. And this guy does hit like a truck, so be ready for that. I would recommend tanking these guys in evasive stance if you have it. I know on this build, so just doing it live. Drop back into every channel to reapply the dots.
It is done.
I'm going to visit the pet and ourselves so we can go back up and finish the run. but we're going to duplicate into over channel so we can land our debuff and slow. And we're also going to make sure we have Puma. And we're going to put select healing on ourselves. And we board up. And if we need to tap, we'll drop into inversion. And that's an all Bosses Enchanter run. Playing this guy with one really dumb death and then one death that wasn't our fault, but I wanted to keep those in instead of cutting this up so that you can see that you can recover and that a death or two is not the end of the world.